at this point, any questions, any thing you want to talk about, anything that might have come to mind? Shoot. I don't know.
When are you dropping it on all streaming platforms?
All right, so we'll take that. What's up, Chris? As a matter of fact, Chris will be in the building. I done did something right now. I got you in the building. We are hopefully dropping it next month. That's the goal.
Okay.
You know how this works with indie artists. You work with indie artists a million times. Things may change, things like that, but this is pretty much the last. It just needs minor tweaks and things like that. We officially have an album cover, thanks to my brother Abdu. So we just, hopefully by the end of this month, it should be out on all streaming platforms.
Is it already mastered?
No. So that was a close to final mix, if you will. The only song that's mastered right now is Glory.
Okay, well, hit up Barry Williams if you need that mastering.
I got you, Steve. I got it.
He's doing nothing. It's the quarantine.
I got it. All right, so why don't we talk a little bit about the project itself, just for us. So I think for me, it really came down to, I think this is a really good time for this particular album, mainly because Leftist has never been a group that's been about escapism. We were never interested in that, and I've heard every artist from Michael Jackson to Lil Wayne talk about the idea of like the music being an escape for people, and it's a question of how long can you escape though, because now we're in a situation like right now where you can't escape. So I'm sure by now everybody's tired of being told, or listening to "I woke up like this," because I don't know about y'all, but I'm like, yo, the best revenge in an epidemic in a pandemic is not my paper. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, So you start to go back to hopefully the realism. And what really matters, and for us, it was a matter of, like I say in the beginning in Alchemy, this is strength for the shaken. This is how we break through, right? This is how we get through whatever it is that we. So for us, it was always, at least for me, it's always been about making an album or making projects that people could hear, learn from, and then go and produce further. Not continue to consume, but to go and be able to say whatever it is that I'm going through, I can get through it. That was the entire point of all of the work that we've done so far, and really of this particular album. I just felt like also that there was no space for people around our age. Once we leave college, that age where it really starts to become real life, there's no music for us. Like, you know what I mean? It's either for the young people, or like you gotta stick with the older stuff. But it's nothing that's talking about the real stuff that we go through once we leave that age, where it's like, oh, yo, this is real life. So that's kind of what we wanted to do, just bring more of that kind of stuff to the forefront. Okay, we gotta okay, explain the line and let it live. What line is on Doctor? I don't understand.
I think they're talking about that line. We got one doctor, one bachelor, two masters, two bachelors. That line.
Oh, okay. So that line essentially comes from, our entire group is five of us. Brian is like the unofficial member. He's always gonna be on my side at least. So it's at least five of us, possibly six. That song in particular is really mapped out to tell the story. It's an amalgamation of six people. I mean, of five people. And so it tells a little bit of everybody's story in Let It Live. And so what I was suggesting in the first verse, I'm asking, does my degree even matter, right? Because most of us didn't end up in the spot that we thought we'd end up. Look at Chris is saying, no, it doesn't matter, right? Ibrahim said, no, it doesn't matter, right? So we didn't end up in the spot that we thought we'd end up. And so by the second verse, I'm saying, so if it ever does matter, these are our credentials, right? It's 1 master's, 2 doctors, 2 bachelors, so that you understand we are very accredited, and we are a very accredited group. So it's not like we just out here just doing this for fun. So I'm just saying, just reminding people that if ever the day comes that this stuff ever does matter, we've got that locked too.
You got that paper. Literally, you got that paper.
Well, I mean, it didn't necessarily lead to that either. So, questions. Anybody? Questions? Take your time. Oh, Maximus. Somebody's asking about Maximus. That is on the next album, inshallah. Maximus didn't fit this album, so that's the concept behind this album. So I was like, nah, we'll wait on that.
Question.
Yeah, Megan.
How did you choose the order of the songs? Like Alchemy came first. Why?
Ooh, good question. So, all right. So, first of all, everybody, Megan is on Alchemy, right? That's her in the background singing. And one of the funniest things about this is, right, Megan just came into the studio because oh, good job, Mahir. So Megan came in the studio because I asked people to help me out. I had a client who was suicidal, and I asked people to help me out with what I could do for his birthday to make it feel good. Megan gave me some answers, and I was like, you know what? Whoever gave me some answers, why don't you come in the studio? I didn't know Megan was a singer, right? And she would always hit me up like, "Yo, let's do something." I'm like, I don't really know. Like, we didn't know each other, but I invited her in the studio. And we get in there, and she's sitting there, and she's pitching her, and she's slowly but surely, she's like pitching herself a little bit, right? And so I said, you know what? Okay, cool. Why don't you go in here and do this? I want it to sound like it's like it's hard breathing, like you're almost dying, right? Panting. And so Megan gets in there and in perfect pitch destroys this song, right? Right? The pitch on this is crazy. It's a 1 take, right? That she does this in 1 take, and it was just incredible. But to answer your question, really sequencing as far as the album was concerned, came down to so some of it is very are like Easter eggs, and they walk into each other, and that's not by that's not on purpose, but it kind of became that way. So for example, like Alchemy had to start the album because it's I needed something that was I needed something to feel like you were buried, right? Like I needed something to feel like you couldn't breathe, right? Because that's how I feel. And I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but a lot of times I feel like that. Just living every day. There are a lot of times where you just feel buried, and I needed something that made you feel like that. And that's why I opened the song with, how come every record on the radio feels good? How come every record on the radios feel good, but nobody feels good? Everybody says this is the feel-good record, right? But we still feel terrible, right? Why is that? And so I wanted to open the album, at least with Alchemy, because the point of Alchemy is that none of that stuff, whatever you heard before that, it's not going to save you, right? And so here's an opportunity for us to be able to breathe. So that's at the end of it, that's why I say breathe. Right? And at the end of it, that's why I say you're waiting for the chorus, ain't you? Because you're so programmed to look for a particular thing. You're so ready for the chorus has to come next. Like, this part of my life has to come next. And I'm saying we're breaking out of that, and then here's the rest of the album from henceforth. You see what I'm saying? To be able to say, here's the rest of it, that'll continue to give you that breath. So that's how we kind of went, as far as I was concerned, as far as sequence. That, I hope that makes any sense.
Assalamu
alaikum.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciated, which is something that I've appreciated about your guys' other tracks, but you showed it through this collection also, is your ability to just cross genres or cross styles, but still bring like emotions, still bring like the passion behind it,
Uh,
but not needing to follow a certain criteria or, you know, make everything sound similar, even if it's your own sound. But you
yeah.
guys are able to do that with all these different styles. So I'm just really excited to be able to hear this finalized and be able to jam out to it, inshallah, soon.
That's Mahir's fault. I'm blaming him. You got to take credit for that.
No, I disagree. I think one of the biggest things about us is that we all come from such different backgrounds, not just musically, but also just in life. And so all of our musically, from lifestyles, but everything that we come together with a sometimes like each of us has a different idea of how we want a song to sound like. And then we all kind of feed into creating like this, something that I don't think any of us ever thought the song would sound like what it ended up sounding like. So I'd have to give credit to all of us for that. It's all our fault.
You want to speak to that at all? Go ahead, acting shy.
I think what needed to be said was said. We're an international conglomerate, right? We used to be called the UN of hip hop or whatever genre we had, but I feel like we kind of like let that label go because it's not just hip hop that we're playing. It's a little bit of
It's soul music, baby. It's soul music.
What'd you call it?
It's soul music, baby. That's what it is. It's soul music.
It is. So
yeah, Zeki, as far as that's concerned, one of the things that I love about us is that I think one of the things about art is that art is supposed to make you uncomfortable. And when I say make you, I mean like the people who are doing it, right? And so in the process of it, we find ways to push the art, because especially with music is supposed to be the universal language, right? But if we're all saying the same thing, how are we getting anywhere? Right, so that was kind of for me, when you hear something like How to Speak, right, you'll hear something that's similar to things that you might hear, like you'll hear a snap in there, but then there's a tabla. Like, who's rapping over a tabla? Like, you're not gonna hear it. And then there's a guitar solo in there somewhere. like it's like, where did all this come from? So yeah, I definitely enjoy that aspect of Leftist. It just it makes us kind of really go ahead and dig deep into art and what we could possibly do, because there's so much we could do with it.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam, brother. Sorry. What's up?
What's happening, man? How you? I'm a little rough right now. I'm trying to eat up and working all day.
Here we go.
Working all day. I tapped in late, man, but I just want to say, like, as a poet, I work most times solo. And so you all are fairly young and y'all maintained a group. So how does that happen? How do you manage people in the age of basically, all it takes is 2 seconds to cut somebody off in this day and age? So how have you all maintained that? And what can you say to other artists who want to be in a group and want to have some sustainability?
Anybody?
They're like, we was fighting last night. Sorry, no joke.
Actually, we probably were.
Right.
And we're definitely not that young either.
Speak for yourself, my guy.
Y'all ain't the OJs.
That's the truth. Man, I really don't. It's a testament to the Most High, right? Like, it was interesting. I was sitting back and I was thinking, wow, we've been doing this this is 10 years now, right? This year, and it really, I can only speak for myself, and I don't want to, like, when I say this, I don't want to sound like I'm like bigging myself up or anything like that, but like, it really takes somebody who has the vision to not let that joint go, because a lot of people will tell you to let it go. I've heard it for years on years on years. Let it go. Certain people aren't ready. Certain people aren't worth it. Whatever it is, and I've literally had to, as the leader, I've literally had to. There are times where you're gonna have to pull people along, there are times where you're going to have to, you got to know how to deal with each person. It's really like your own children. Like, real talk. It really is like your own children. If you want to, that is a tough, it should happen more often, but it's a tough thing to do, is put together groups and keep them together. It's really, you have to figure out if you're really invested in that, you have to figure out the personality of each person that you're dealing with, and then address them based on that. And then, to be honest, a lot of it is hope. I could tell you that each member in here has quit at some point, like, other than probably like me and Mahir. Like, I mean, so it's not like it's just been, it's just been kind of one of those things that you I don't know, man. It's just really, like, the groups that we started out with are all gone. I can tell you that for a fact, right? And I think, you know what it is? I think you would really have to have a purpose. Like, what's your intention for doing it? What's your reason for doing it? Once you get that clear and you be the main guy to direct that purpose, everybody will keep coming back and keep revolving around that purpose. But you have to have a serious purpose as to why you're doing it.
And Tarek, that's a really good question, and I want to add on a little bit to Dean's point, that you have to have someone who understands the vision and the purpose of the group, because sometimes, speaking from my own experience, there have been times that I've lost that vision when life deals, like when life deals you with certain cards, and you're trying to figure out what's the best play right now. It becomes a balancing act. And sometimes I feel like, man, like, I got to come home from work after a crazy shift, dealing with my family, dealing with my job, not even having enough time for myself. And I got to shoot this promo video now, or I got to go on live right now and do this and do that. And it's just like, there's some times where I think it's all right to take a step away from it for a little bit of time. But the thing with Leftist and the thing with Dean is that it keeps coming back. Like, no matter how far you go, like, you always turn back, because you're like, wait a minute, like, you remember why you did this in the first place. You remember what kept you playing. And a testament to Leftist, and we say this oftentimes, is the fact that we're not a band, first and foremost. We're brothers. Everything that we do, we have a brotherhood first, and the music comes after that. So when you have that relationship with people, man, I feel like anything will stand the test of time, because before the music, before, the job, before the business aspect of it, you'll always have that community and that family aspect of it. And, you can never get away from that.
Wow. You're gonna make me shed a thug tail out here.
Wow. I need to get this as a
real.
recording so I could play this for people who've lost their way along this path of musicianship.
Oh, yeah, it can be tough. Because there's no, it's hard, and a lot of it don't come with the reward that you think it's gonna come with. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A lot of it does not come with that, and so that realization hurts a lot of people. So it really just comes down to purpose, I think. All right, let's move on to the next question. I see a question, but how do y'all manage your schedule? Okay, let's see what I got. Yeah, okay, cool. How do you guys juggle all of your schedules?
We don't. We don't. No, can you go ahead, Dean?
Yeah, we don't. Like, again, man.
That's why it's taken so long for this album to come out. It's been years. It's been years. But I mean, that just goes to show you that, like, as indie musicians, like, we got family, we have our jobs outside of this. Like, we wish we could be full-time musicians, but we're at a point where we're not. We're balancing so many things. But, we're able to come back and still take part in the music, even if it is little by little. And I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned with Leftist is that consistency in small doses beats, what's it called? It beats actions that are once a month, twice a month in large doses. You know what I mean? So you want to be aggressively consistent, even if it is 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day that you can devote to your craft. And it doesn't have to be music, rather than going about it for a large amount of time, like once a month or inconsistently. So I think that's what's kept us together, is the fact that we've been able to devote an hour at a time in the studio during the weekends, or devoting like a bi-weekly time where we're devoting to studio, where we're devoting to promotions, to marketing, to all of these things, so that even if it does take us longer, at least we're consistent with it. And we know that we will, inshallah, reach the end goal. And I think that's like a culmination of where we're at right now with the album. And I don't know if you want to add on a little bit more to that, Dean or Mahir, because I know you can both can probably speak to that better than I can.
Pragmatically speaking, it helps to have a shared calendar. So we always have events put on the calendar. And if any one of us misses a meeting, which invariably 1, 2, 3, or sometimes it's just 2 of us are there, we always have meeting notes on an Evernote. I'm sure you weren't looking for an actual pragmatic answer to that question, but that's the truth of it. That helps a lot too.
Okay, let's see.
I see Tara asked the question on the chat.
Do you have any individual intentions that you put into the group, or even that you look to get out of the group? For me, I just really want my daughter to say, like, when it's all said and done, I just really want my daughter to say, like, I helped her in some way, shape, or form, right? Individually, that's what I want. And then I want to get as close to the Most High as I possibly can. Like, that's the goal. When I stop getting there, then I'll be done with it. As far as like, what I want. This album, this process, going through all of this has helped me refine myself in a way that I found strength in. I know where my strength is, where my value lies. So that's pretty much, I think, it for me.
And to answer that question from my perspective, I think life is not about living forever, but it's about creating something that does. And I think that's what's true within our music, is the fact that, it might not be popular now, it might not turn as many heads or anything like that, but you never know. With one day down the line, 30, 40 years from now, someone might be streaming We Are and jam into it, or someone might be streaming How to Speak and the song might speak to them. And I think that's what life is about. It's about creating something that can benefit people even long after you're gone.
Man, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow up either of those 2 answers. I don't know. I just like playing music.
That's a perfect answer.
All right, let's go. Let's go on to the next one. What is your purpose with the music? I guess that's pretty much. My purpose is to give people more stories that broaden the scope of what's being talked about, either through mainstream or outside of that. That's kind of my purpose. Again, I think that music has a space for healing, and I think that because of the record industry and our own industrialized idea of what music is now, we don't allow for it to exist anymore. It's just like you're just supposed to make a hit record, and that's kind of it. And I'd rather sacrifice the hit to make a statement. So that's kind of my purpose as far as the music is concerned. I want to make statements. All right, next one. All right, cool. When you don't have the intrinsic reward, where do you find the motivation to continue to push forward? So basically, what is the purpose behind your? Well, I think we just answered that part. But if y'all want to speak any more into like pushing forward?
Yeah, I actually really like that question, because the truth is sometimes I'm actually not driven by something greater or something really cool. Oftentimes I'm like, hey, I want to make something that sounds really good. And that's really sometimes just all it is.
Yeah. I just feel like a kid You know, I have
Yeah,
put
yeah,
it this way.
definitely.
So I make art because I have so many questions, right? And so those questions lead to more questions, right? So for example, me sitting in there, like I was in there doing doing Glory, and I'm a snares guy, right? That snare got to snap a certain way, right? And I'm sitting in there and it's just me and Don, right? Now, mind you, it's like 12 other instruments on it, right? So for me, I would want everybody to be in the room to say, okay, this works. So me and Don, who's the engineer for this album, this project, right? We're just going through snares, and I'm like, Don, I don't know how to tell him what I want. I just know what I hear, right? And I'm sitting in the background, right? And Don can't see me. Don's a white guy, right? So he has like that positive white guy smile, you know, that like he's just like, yeah, we can do it, right? And so Don is in front of me, right? Just going through different snares. And I'm in the back with my head down, like I have no clue what the hell I'm doing right now, right? And once I got there, heard the snare that I wanted, it hit me again. Yo, I can do this. Right. And so that little bit of that angst that led to this further part that made me say, okay, well, how much further can I go now? Right. That's just me 100%. That's what I'm looking for out of this whole thing. It's just the ability to continue to create and build more questions on top of more questions for me.
That was a great question. And I know everyone's been here for a while, so I think we will be wrapping it up very shortly. But if you got more questions, keep them coming.
Okay, cool.
I've noticed that your music tells stories. Are they significant to relating to any of your lives? And I also wanted to know who writes the material and what influences the writing. And you kind of answered the question. You said, do you want your music to change the world? I kind of got that vibe that you do. I think Dean says something about wanting to create a legacy for his daughter. And I don't know if all of you have children, but I think it's very important that you build on a legacy, you pave a way so that the people after you can have something tangible or basically concrete to look forward to. So, that's why I asked the question about if you don't have an extrinsic reward, intrinsically, what motivates you to keep going? Because sometimes you need some type of motivation. So you always have to know the why. Mm-hmm. So you kind of summed up the why. So basically I know that your music tells stories. So are they relatable to any of your lives? And where do you get the influence of that to create it? Because actually it's really good. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I really like it. I like the Afro beats. It's a diversity, and I think diversity is really good. It's it's not like a one track type of thing it's something redundant. Right. So it's very surprising with every song that you go through. Sorry for being wordy, but I'm a very wordy person. So okay, I'm done.
Oh, y'all want to start with that? What do y'all?
First off, I'm a very wordy person too, so
yeah.
I apologize for that. I'm very wordy. I'm a little too wordy to my own detriment, as the guys know. But when you're asking your question, I think one of the things that stood out to me is why you continue to do what you do is from my perspective. I grew up playing music, and no one else in my family, to my knowledge, that I know does. I always had rhythm within me, and one of my uncles brought me my first drums when I was 3 years old or something like that. And ever since then, I've just kind of been learning how to play and teaching myself how to play. And all throughout the years, I could never afford a teacher. So what I would do is I'd learn by watching other people, by listening, and it helped me become a much more well-rounded musician when it came to the drums. So I feel with the talent that I currently do possess, that there has to be a reason why. Like I always believe in purpose. I feel like everything has purpose behind it. So there must be a reason as to why I'm so drawn to music the way I am. And it came, from a young age, ever since Dean and I first met and I started playing with the band, with Leftist, I knew that, my music could take me somewhere. And it got to the point where today it's like, why do I still continue playing? Why am I still motivated? Why am I, going in when sometimes I have no drive? It's because I know now that other people depend on it, right? Other people depend on my art in order to further move ahead. And especially like Dean, it's like, I don't want to let Dean down, like I don't want to, in the same way, I feel like I don't want to let my parents down when it comes to, my rights and my duties as a son. It's like, I don't want to let Dean down when it comes to my rights and my duties as a musician. So it's like, and that's how I see it. And I've been with this dude for a long time now, man. I'm like, he's rubbing off on me in ways he has no idea. Like, I'm getting all philosophical now. I'm getting all like, learning how to read in between the lines, learning how to have a more analytical mind. So it's like what I've learned from him and what I've learned from the band, like, it's my responsibility to keep going. And, I'm not going to be 100% motivated all the time. But what I do find is that I always end up coming back to it. So, I've just stuck with it.
As far as storytelling, if you're talking about lyrically, I write all of the lyrics. If you're talking about musically, then that's usually an amalgamation of different people. A song like Alchemy is just mostly me and Bryant. A song like How to Speak is mostly Mahir, me, Ebadullah, and and Mark, and Bryant. So it varies as far as the storytelling itself. That's all me. So a good portion of it is self, is autobiographical to some degree, but it's, I think, I hope I'm not just speaking for everybody, but I hope they all agree with me in this. I think that it's meant for all five of us, not a situation where it's like it's just me talking about me per se, and so that's why I choose to write the way that I write, because I don't want, so they've always said that so I was listening to Ice Cube and Kweli the other day, and they were talking about how storytelling is like the highest form of MCing, right? And I've always found that to be kind of my thing. I've never been interested in anything other than telling stories. And plus, when you could fit like a story like Miriam, when you could fit that into a song, that joint is cold, yo. I don't care what nobody said. At least for me. At least for me, when I get done with a story like that and I can say that I completed it, I'm like, ooh, that's crazy. So for me, I try to write, like, I've always been in the movies, so I try to write my own version of movies. And so that's where all the storytelling comes from. I've never been a rappity rap kind of rapper. One, because I feel like I have to answer for that on the day of judgment, right? And I ain't interested in answering for that. So I've never been a I'm better than you rapper. Like, that's not been my thing. And so from there, and then I also have 4 other people to write for and to make sure that I'm representing. So I try to do that in the best way by telling as many stories as possible, more than focusing on any other kind of form of music making.
So thank you for that question.
Oh, and just to say, I don't necessarily want my music to change the world, and here's why. I don't believe, again, this is something that I've gone through in the process. There's a part in Strength for the Shaken where I say, so no longer am I saving the planet. From today, we're just fam. Let me be grateful and take full advantage. The reason I say that is because I don't think that human beings have the right to decide who or what changes the world, right? The world existed well before we ever existed, right? So it's almost like at least for me, it's almost like an arrogance for me to say that I'm going to change the world. You know what I mean? Like that's a higher power than me. So I don't necessarily subscribe to that. If and when it does, again, that's a higher power to me. So I try not to think that deep into, saving the world kind of thing. You know what I mean? Or changing.
Or more or less just influencing, just influencing somebody that might have a similar issue or a similar story like yours. Like a girl from Newark grows up and marries, and you know what I'm saying?
I love when people can relate. So 100%. We've had people come to us after shows and say the wildest things, like, you know what I mean? You saved my soul kind of thing. I'm like, I didn't want that responsibility. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't think I had that. That wasn't what I was interested in. But but people take things in different ways, and that's another thing. That's why I don't necessarily want to have that responsibility, because I never know what comes back. Now, changing the world could also mean the worst things. It don't necessarily mean a good thing. You know what I mean? So, in that sense, I don't know. I try to go out with the best of intentions, and then from there, inshallah, I just allow it to be what it is.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
No, that's not. Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Good question for you guys. What do you guys see leftists at in 10 years from now?
Oh, that's an interview question.
Oh.
That's what it is. Communication.
Right. Oh. I thought leftists at 10 years. Oh, is he's geriatric, barely any knees, all that stuff.
With the way we jump on stage, that's probably true.
Especially you, bro. You're gonna be done.
Oh yeah. Wheelchairing around.
Mahir was doing one-handed pull-ups when we're warming up. Yeah, I got videos.
Man, when we started out, we was young and spry. It ain't the same anymore. I just really want to complete the story of Leftists. I know which story needs to be told, and I will tell that until the end. And then after that, whatever happens from there, alhamdulillah, it is what it is. I just want to complete this story. I have to, it is part of my calling to make sure that the story is completed. And then from there, again, we'll see what happens after that.
10 years from now, we'll probably drop album number 2.
Oh, that is so true. Oh my God. No. Hopefully within the next before 2020 is out, we'll have it ready and B, you ready for the next one? We gonna have to do it in quarantine in separate spots. We gonna have to do it remotely, but it'll be.
Man, I've been ready.
B said back to Cali. All right. Any more questions? We got a little bit more time. So just so y'all know, I'm in the UK, so it's it's about to be, what is it? It's 12 o'clock already. 12 a.m. over here. I need salute.
We all know how you get when you tired, nigga.
Oh boy. All right, any more questions? Anybody? Throw out something.
When did you fall in love with hip hop?
Hey yo.
Oh, you're done, yo. Don't ask no more questions ever again. He's the only person who can't ask questions, okay? Oh God. I mean, I've always been, that's always been, it's not my first genre. My first genre would be R&B. My second would be disco. My third in there would probably be hip hop. But you can't, we grew up in Jersey, so you can't be from Jersey and not, have heard. I grew up in the early, the 90s. I grew up in the 80s, 90s. There's no way around it. It just was part of, our culture, my surroundings, so it just kind of came with the territory. E, I'd love for you to answer that question.
When did I first fall in love with hip hop?
Yeah.
That's
no.
I wasn't sure if that was what you were asking. I thought you were answering that. Oh, now you asking top genres? Is that what you're saying?
No, answer that question.
To be honest, like, I still don't know if I'm in love with it. You know what I mean? Like, I generally, like, I don't know, because I feel like, you know, I am in love with, you know, growing up, I didn't really listen to music in a sense that, like, was real music. I just listened to what was on the radio. You know what I mean? I just had, like, a beat up old van I was driving all the time, and whatever was on 93.9 or 99.5, like, I was just listening to that. But I feel like as I became much more acclimated with Leftist and learning about our inspirations and whatnot, I began to dive deeper into music. And I was like, oh, I gotta know who Stevie Wonder is. Like, all right, I gotta know who, you know, James, Nas and like all these people are. Yeah, for real. Cause like I knew about one song here and there, but then like that was about it. But I feel like it was definitely Nas's album that really made me fall in love with hip hop, like, you know, 90s hip hop. Like a lot of the stuff today, to be honest, like I'm not trying to throw like jabs or anything like that. I feel like I can't listen to it because it's just a nice, it's just a hot beat, you know. But I mean, you know, when you're jamming in the car, like that's about it. But to me, because I understand what kind of music Leftist makes, I always am drawn towards music that kind of affects my soul. And that's why I'm a big fan of like ghazal music, whether it's Indian or Afghan ghazal music, because I feel like, you know, they know these certain ragas that move your soul, right? There's ragas that make you fall asleep. There's ragas that make you laugh. There's ragas that make you cry. And I feel like that's the type of music I've always grown up with. So I search for that level of influence within my heart in music that I'm listening to today. So, you know, but I want to say that I did really fall in love with Nas, with a lot of Biggie, because, you know, their music really was something that I felt defined their genre and their emotions and, you know, their feelings at that time. And I try to emulate that same level of realness and authenticity within what, you know, I do. So if that, you know, is the answer. I know I can talk, so feel free to interrupt me. Brian's laughing right now. I don't know about Brian's laughing right now.
All right, any more questions? Anybody?
Nasir said he would like to sing a song for everybody.
Oh.
You ready? Yep. You ready? Okay, let's go. You gotta sing.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. Wheels on the bus go round and round, all through town.
Pick it.
The wheels on the bus go beep, 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 beep. The horn on the bus, beep, 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 all through the town.
Hey, you gotta say thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Hey! Uncle for no uncle. But hey!
Should have remixed that joint. Should have remixed.
Gave it a little flavor.
Yeah.
See, this is old school baby music. This ain't Baby Shark. You know what I mean?
All right. Anybody else? Questions?
First of all, Ebadullah, that Baby Shark dubstep mix go hard. Okay, stop playing games out here.
There's a really dope R&B version too. It's really good.
Okay, y'all. All right. Look, y'all go. I done got my kid off Baby Shark. I'm good. I'm good. All right. Anybody else? Slide in. We done? We good?
I think that's it.
I think that might be all of it.
First off, I want to say thank you to everyone who joined. You know, I really do appreciate all of you being here with us during this quarantine. It was hella fun. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you all did too.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. I really just wanted to. We really wanted to put this together, not because, like, for me, it's becoming less of a matter of trying to get you to consume so much as, you know, just this is an opportunity for us to come together and kind of, you know, in a time like this, you know, hopefully be able to, you know, build on something later. I think it's interesting that everybody is online right now, and I just wanted to do something that was kind of online but offline, you know, and just really focused on people having the opportunity to enjoy something without being sold something. You know what I mean? That kind of was my purpose, at least for me, my purpose behind it. It's just an opportunity to sit down, chill, listen to some tunes, and, you know, just be shocked about some things, you know, and enjoy each other without the need to have to sell you anything. So I'm thankful that you guys are here. Pops Ebadullah, I see you in the back, man.
Salam, amigo.
Hello.
Dad was like, what's all that noise? I have to join. So I was like, I brought the computer to him.
Good to see you. Good to see you all.
Good to see you too. Good to see
Wonderful. I enjoyed listening to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mahir, you got anything else you want to say?
No, thanks everyone for coming out. Really appreciate you guys. Like, this is something special for us. You know, I was really glad to share it with you guys, and, you know, be safe out there too.
Guys, Mahir is a doctor, right? So that is clear. He's not going to do this to himself. I'm going to do it to him. He is a doctor, and he is in the process of having to prep for COVID-19, right? It's something that he's never had to do before, right? So he's literally dealing with people who are dying on his watch as he's doing this, right? So when you hear the solo and how to speak and, you know, all the stuff in the background, he was able to put that together in the middle of all of this, right? So just to be clear. So, like, you know, when it comes down to it, to me, that's what strength is. That's what value is. That's what purpose is. That's why we created this album. And that's why Ebadullah came up with the title Strength. I think it's the perfect apt title for it. And it's a great time for it. And I thank you guys so much for even just being here and enjoying this with us and rocking with the left.
Bye, everyone.
Is that why the chords on How to Speak got switched up? Because it took me forever to learn them Jones. And, you know, I'm a little upset. I'm just saying, personally. It took me a while. All right. Yeah, I know the brother going through it, but I need answers on this one. All right.
Look, songs evolve. We're gonna
songs evolve.
Songs evolve. Songs devolve. This is kind of how it works. Like, you shouldn't have got
the Michael Jackson yet.
We shouldn't have gave you the old copy. That was our fault.
The thing is, I still got the old copy. So
you just had. So you have two versions. You got How to Speak and How to Talk. Sometimes there you go. All right, everybody. Thank you again so much for joining us, and you guys have a great night. And I'm gonna go to sleep because my daughter's gonna be up at early as hell, whatever time that is. And, you know, I'm gonna be tired. So,
all right, everyone. Have a good night.
Night.
Love you guys. Thank you so much, man.
Love you guys.
Walaikum assalam.
Hey, everyone. It's Mahir.
This is Ebadullah.
Thanks for coming out. We loved you all. And we appreciate you guys listening to our music with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. It meant the world to me, meant the world to us. And representing the other two guys who weren't here, who weren't able to be here. I know they would have wanted to enjoy it too. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it went by real fast, but that's just because we had a lot of fun. So thank you for joining, and stay tuned for the album. It's coming out next month. Peace. Nice.